Welcome back out there, party goers, to Zero Dark Nerdy, the world's most notorious pop culture podcast. This is your boy Brian, a.k.a. El Nino, a.k.a. the Hawaiian Shirt King of Greensboro, North Carolina. And today I am joined with Jordan and one half of Popcorn Podcast. We got Tim in the building from Popcorn Podcast. Let me get the air horns out there. Tim, welcome back. It's been a long time, my friend. How are you doing?
It's been such a long time, Jordan, Brian. Thanks for having me. And I've been dreaming about you using that horn on me because it's such an iconic part of your show, which I love. And, before we sort of rolled, I was going to call out your Hawaiian shirt. And I love that that's part of like your intro because it is, you are killing it in the Hawaiian shirt department today.
Oh, I try. It helps cover up the couple pounds that I've gained.
Oh my God.
I know my daughter hates hearing
Anyways,
it, but
swiftly moving on.
Yes, but Tim, it's great to have you. You know, the last couple of times we have you on, it's been you as well as Lee. Lee is currently on maternity leave. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my better half, so I'm writing solo at the moment on the podcast, which is both a dream and it's a bit lonely in that sense because Lee have been doing this for so long together. So of course I miss her and what she brings to the show. But she'll be back probably around November. So she went on mat leave back in April and she was having her second baby, which has happened and they're beautiful and everything's going really, really well. But since Lee's been on mat leave, like the first time when she had her first child, I've been sort of inviting special guests, entertainment reporters, creators, other journalists to kind of review films with me, and then just sort of like rolling with the punches with all the interviews that we do. So I'm just trying to stay on top of all that and just having a great time, having a really good time.
Oh my goodness, Lee, we miss you. We love you. Congrats. She had no babies when we first connected, and now she has two.
She has two, yeah. But you know what? Like, despite Lee being on mat leave, she hasn't, been twiddling her thumbs. Naturally, raising a family and everything, and she's a superwoman in that sense. But she's heading to TIFF. She's heading to Toronto International Film Festival in September. Okay.
Awesome.
So she's been accredited for that. So she's going to be boots on the ground at the festival. And I'll be supporting her down under with pumping out some content, what she captures on red carpets and such like. But then also, as amazing as she is, she's also now a voting member of the Golden Globes for the next presentation. So, which is incredible, as a journalist that she is in her like professional life. It's quite an accolade and an achievement. I'm so proud of her, and I can't wait to
That's amazing.
I'm just following her journey along being a Golden Globes voter, which is awesome.
Oh my goodness! You get extra air horns for that. So. That is fantastic. We love having you on. Like I said, it's been way too long. We got to do this a little bit more often. So it's great to have you back. So let's kind of get into it. It's been a fantastic year for films here in the States. I kind of figured the same thing in Australia. As far as, because you get to go to like a lot of the premieres, obviously the interviews are through the roof. In terms of this year so far, like what have been some of your favorite premieres so far? Because I remember when we first connected, it was like kind of like during the pandemic and after, so stuff was still opening up, and it seems like since then you guys are there. I feel like you're the Entertainment Weekly of Australia. I really do, because I just follow it through you, and I see the interviews and like the red carpet stuff, and especially the premiere parties, and it's just great to see you two thrive in your element.
Yeah, thanks so much. Look, we're so privileged to have that sort of that access and that opportunity to see films in general, but to see them sort of early so we can then share an informed like opinion and offer advice to people, because like going to the movies is so expensive. We want people to make sure that they're making the right decisions, and backing films also that may not get the love, like the Spider-Man Brand New Days out there, and letting people know about them, but then also like we'll take one for the team and we see some pretty shocking movies as well, and let's kind of guide you away from some of those films. But I think probably the most impressive premiere this year so far And I thought the movie was fine. I had a great time with Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah.
But that premiere was epic because it was at the IMAX cinema in Sydney in Darling Harbour, and they had a giant blow-up Grogu out the front, which was really, really cool. And then we kind of went into the belly of the IMAX, and it kind of took you through this experience, and you came up through what would be like a classic Star Wars bar, and there was a dun, 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 dun,
Cantina.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they had like themed drinks, probably nothing like Luke Skywalker drinks in the sequel trilogy. It wasn't like the milk or anything like that from those creatures. And yeah, they just had like a lot of like cosplayers dressed up in all sorts of outfits and things, and interactions and experiences. It was a really, really cool premiere. Like sometimes you just rock up and there's a media wall and you go in and watch the movie, and then sometimes there's a blow up Grogu and you just ride that wave.
Very cool.
Love it. Love it. Jordan, what's your first question?
I don't know. I mean, I guess just on a more general level, like, what is your, I guess, favorite new release of the year as far as movies go?
Yeah,
If you had to pick like one, I know that's hard.
Oh, if I had to pick one, holy shit. Well, like I've got a list of like my favorite films of the year so far, and it's probably about like 20 long, but there's a few like that I pulled out that were real surprises. It doesn't necessarily mean they were like,
you can do that.
Like
Perfect.
unreal, but like I'll start here because it may be a bit unexpected, but I was really surprised by Minions and Monsters because it was a love letter to filmmaking, and like these little random, yellow banana loving dudes just brought so much joy to that whole experience. And, as a film nerd and as a film lover, and just going on this wild and wacky ride that ultimately just made me, connect so much more to a Minions movie than I ever expected. So that was just probably one of the most surprising films of the year for me. Have you guys seen that one?
So that's one
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
I just haven't had the chance, but I've heard really good things.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. That was the one during the summer because it's been an action-packed summer. It's actually because of the numbers and everything worldwide, the busiest summer at the movie theaters since the pandemic. So it's been a great summer, but that's one where it's like Jordan and I talked about it, and unfortunately we have not yet watched it. But I'm really glad you touched on it though, because everyone that's seen it, I've not heard a bad thing about it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of like the battle between Toy Story 5 and Minions and Monsters because they released within a week of themselves.
Right.
And of course, Toy Story's, hit over $1 billion at the box office. Minions and Monsters, I think, is approaching $500 million, which is still an incredible achievement. And I love Toy Story 5, and I think, oh, come on, we need a bit more love behind Minions and Monsters. But I also had the privilege of interviewing, oh my God, why have I forgotten his name? This is so embarrassing. Jeff Bridges. Jesus.
It's okay. This is why we edit. This is why we edit. So you're good.
So I had the privilege of interviewing Jeff Bridges and Bobby Moynihan for Minions and Monsters. And, Jeff Bridges is kind of like one of those, bucket list actors, especially so far into his celebrated career. And I had a chuckle to myself going, okay, so I've landed Jeff Bridges and it's for Minions and Monsters. What world am I living in? So I thought that was like pretty random and cool.
That's fantastic. Yeah, the dude. You got the dude.
The dude, man.
Podcast. And I ended up watching that. I've been playing catch up a little bit, and you're literally, and I've told you guys this from day one. I don't really watch or listen to that many podcasts because I don't want to get in my head and be like, oh, I need to do this and that. But you and Lee's podcast is like heavy rotation, and that was so great. And I just remember seeing that with Jeff Bridges, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that's got to be. So I'm glad you said bucket list because I was like, that's got to be like a bucket list actor right there.
100%. And, it's you just never know which interviews are going to land, what films they're going to be for. So, yeah, just very, very grateful every single time. What was another surprising film of the year? The Sheep Detectives, I thought was just a beautiful, fun, hilarious, wholesome film. And the fact that it lent into things like sheep culture and just how beautiful that is, and how clouds in the sky are sheep that have come and gone in their community. I was like, why is this, so emotional? It was just such a lovely film.
Absolutely.
So true. So Jordan, that was actually one of her when we did our 2026 preview episode. That was one of her like I'm very very interested in this film, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen a trailer, didn't see
Mm.
anything. We ended up watching it. I think did we watch it in the theaters or was it did we
So
stream it?
crazy. That's another one just still I have not seen yet. I just haven't had the chance. I have had a very busy past couple months,
You have.
but I
You
heard
have.
amazing things and I had faith in this movie since I heard about it last year.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
was talking about it last year. They were like, corny Hugh Jackman kids movie." I was like, "Trust me, I can feel something about this movie is gonna be so good." And so I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear I have not heard one bad thing about it yet, so I'm all the more excited to
Yeah.
finally get to sit down and watch it. I feel like it's definitely gonna. I'm a big animal lover, so anything that has to do with like animals in any emotional level is gonna destroy me. But I'm ready to do that in the comfort of my home now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy
Safety
to
and
hear
comfort
it's
of your
that
home.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really lovely film.
It truly truly is. It's I'm glad you mentioned that because that was one of my surprises of the year. The other one
Mm.
is the one that my daughter and I literally just watched this today before we're
Mm.
doing this podcast.
Hmm.
And I came in low expectations, but the reviews have been fantastic. The end of Oak Street.
Yeah. What a banger.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a
Wow.
lot of fun.
Wow. Wow. I'm just watching it and I'm like, if Jurassic Park actually happened and we brought dinosaurs back and they were to go to a random neighborhood, this is
Yeah.
how it would be. It's not like how they do it in the movies, where it's like PG-13. Like to me, I don't think it was rated R, but it was definitely on the
It was
cusp.
pushing. It
It
was
was it was
pushing
Yeah.
its
pushing.
rating.
It was
Yeah.
pushing it, but I thought it was well directed, well acted.
Mm.
The shots were fantastic. There were a couple jump scares in there, and I don't
Hmm.
normally get into the jump scare stuff, but it had me on my toes and very, very surprised. What did you think about it, Tim?
I loved
Oh,
it.
I loved it. I've just released the review episode of The End of Oak Street, and there are a couple of things that we kind of unpacked, and one of them was that it felt like what Jurassic World Dominion should have sort of lent into around dinosaurs living amongst humans. And
Yes.
I think Dominion is such a misfire for many, many, many reasons.
Yeah.
And the end of Oak Street is kind of like gone, hold my drink. I'm going to sort of do a pocket of what Dominion should have,
Yeah.
lent into, because it's tense, it's exciting, it's funny.
Yeah.
And I love that at the core of the film, it's this family sort of navigating their own stuff, but then they're thrown into this prehistoric world
Hmm.
literally and
Mhm.
having to work through their
Yeah,
marital troubles, and kids who, of course, kids do dumb shit, and the kids do dumb shit in this movie, but like you go for it, and it's a beautifully shot film, like, and I love the creature design of the dinosaurs, that sort of hybrid with
yes.
more of them having like that feather look, and some have like more scaly
I was
feather
so
sort of
happy to see the
combo.
feathers. I'm
Yeah,
a big
and
dinosaur person, so this was just that was like a little aspect I was like, because they showed
totally.
like that kind of dinosaurs and like I don't remember if it's Planet Earth like did like a documentary type thing about like
Mm,
more realistically what dinosaurs probably would have looked like, but we haven't got to see that at like this fun fictional level, like more
yeah,
real looking dinosaurs. Not to say that I love the creature design in Jurassic Park. It's iconic and I love
it's
it.
iconic.
Right.
But to see like the feathers was I don't know.
Mm.
That's as a dinosaur nerd, I was really happy with that. That was fun.
But it was still like familiar for the movie going audience who may
Yeah,
not be dino nerds, and they're like, whoa, they probably like, whoa, these dinosaurs still
right.
look really cool. They still are very terrifying, but they've got a unique like aesthetic, and I think they balanced that
For
expectation
sure.
versus reality perfectly. Yeah.
Ugh,
That
Tim.
stupid giant slimy gray
Oh
snake.
mate, I couldn't handle that. No way.
Ugh.
I've
Oh,
never, I told my partner, I told my dad after, I was like, I've never had my eyes like well up with tears out of fear of looking at something. And I hate
Ooh.
snakes. And that thing just kept going and going. And I
oh,
just hate, but it was
Yeah, it
great. I mean, it
was.
was great. It
yeah,
was when it finally opened its mouth, I was like, oh my God.
yeah.
I was out of there.
No,
Same.
I was cringing.
Same. Hate snakes, but at the same time, I was literally like, I told Jordan, I said, this movie was kind of terrifying. Like, this is
Yeah.
not where
It
you would
was
just bring your
interesting.
kids, like a Jurassic Park, Chris Pratt, or even the old
Yeah.
school. where it's, it's definitely very much PG-13. I was like, I don't think I would want to bring any kid less than 10 years old to this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially if they love dinosaurs. They may not love dinosaurs after this.
No, I don't think
And
so.
they'll be grateful that they did exist tens and hundreds of millions of years ago. There's one comment that one of my journo friends, Wen Lee, made a comparison, and you're gonna, just stick with me, a
Yeah.
comparison between The End of Oak Street and One Night Only. Like the premise of One Night Only is that there's a mandate of premarital sex is illegal in the United States, and there's one night a year for 12 hours where if you're unmarried, you can have sex as much and with whoever you want, obviously consensually. But there is actually no sex in One Night Only, but there is dinosaur sex in The End of Oak Street. There's more sex in The End of Oak Street than One Night Only, which is a movie about sex.
I Yeah, that scene was like just speechless, just like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it really honestly was a moment for you to just soak in the atmosphere of this movie and like what they were
Yeah.
doing and how they like bridged the line with like campiness and like again
Yes.
like horror and comedy, and it was like a bright
Hmm.
day all the time, but it was still like these
Mm.
dinosaurs are terrifying and relentless and it
Yeah.
but it was such a lighthearted it was a lot. So it was really a moment to just sit back and be like, okay, like so this is the kind of movie this is. Like I don't yeah,
I
that was
think you
very interesting
I
scene.
think you touch on something about why the movie is so successful, because it's the balance of tone,
Yeah.
and sort
Hmm.
of like sort of balancing the genre of comedy, family drama,
Yeah.
horror,
Right.
adventure,
Yeah.
and dinosaurs. Like it's the perfect sort of um, popcorn blockbuster flick for the
Yeah.
summertime.
Yeah,
Like it really
it
does tick
honestly
all
it
those
is.
boxes.
Yeah. And especially this time of year right now where we're mid-August,
Yeah.
we just had Odyssey, just like you said, Toy
Mm.
Story 5, Minions, obviously
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, you these movies that come out mid to late August, they almost normally feel like
Mm.
almost like a, for lack of a better term, throwaway film where
Yeah.
it's just like, all right, let's get it out there and see what happens. But this one, yeah, I can't wait to talk about it,
It
post
was a
about it. I
lot of
know we
fun.
just did. It really was. Like, and again, I went in low expectations. Like, I'm not hating on it, but let me just see what it is. Because the trailers, it's like, okay, this neighborhood gets all of a sudden, and that's the thing too. What I really liked about it is I didn't care about the why, as far as like, so
Yeah.
why did this happen? You know what I
Yep.
mean? Where people
Yeah.
are obviously going to dissect it, and well, worm, and all of a sudden you have wormhole experts out there, right?
Yeah.
Like they know
Yeah.
exactly what time travel is and this, that, and the other. I'm not going to take the time to figure that out. I am there for the entertainment factor, and I tell you what, this movie entertained the living hell out of me.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there are sci-fi nerd keyboard warriors out there. Of course, they're gonna pick it apart like they do Back to the Future, like they do,
Hmm.
when Christopher Nolan plays with time, like Tenet and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
But I think why it else is so successful is that you just believe the world that you are thrust into, and the explanation or the discovery about why and how it's happening, you just go for it because it's so enjoyable, and the characters are kind of navigating that like you as an audience. They're not scientists
Right.
themselves, so
It's
why
so
would they have all
relatable.
the answers?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
so true.
I think it's really funny. A last thing I'll say, I just think it was really like you already touched on, Tim, like clever and funny how
yeah.
they put that just very basic nuclear family type troubles of, mom and dad are like fighting a little bit, the kids are, trying are young and doing their thing. Um and like put that in the world of dinosaurs are back and like they're still arguing about
Hmm.
like they
Yeah.
have this like new perception of like the world is potentially ending or like
Mm.
we're all gonna die or we're gonna run out of food like whatever, but they're still arguing about like the same things and what it's very clever, honestly. I really enjoyed that aspect, that going back and forth, like, because it does feel relatable. Like, we'd like
Mm.
to say that we would drop all of our problems if this ever happened and, like, see the world more clearly, which there are moments where that happens in the movie, like when
Right.
the bully, stops beating the brother up and is like, what am I doing? But, like, again, we'd all like to say we'd all have those moments, but there's so many of us, just because we're human, would just still fall into, like, those stupid, mundane, like
Yeah.
arguments that are so small.
Yeah.
So I like that
Beautifully
part.
put.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, well said. We're petty as people. It happens.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
there's just
we
things we
are.
just can't let go, no matter what might be going on. Zombie
Yeah.
apocalypse, dinosaurs, whatever it is. There's just some things that we just can't let go as people. But yeah, this movie was very well done, very well placed. Again, a surprise, just like Sheep Detectives, for sure.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
I know you already mentioned Jeff Bridges, Tim. Are there any other interviews that you were just big fans of? Because you guys have, you've been crushing it, obviously, for years now. But again, the more and more you grow, you getting access to stuff that
Mm.
Jordan and I can only dream about right now. We're trying to get there. We're trying to climb that ladder. But any other interviews that just stand out to you from this year?
Yeah, there's a few. I think I interviewed Baz Luhrmann for a second time this year. That was for Epic, his
Awesome.
Elvis Presley in concert film, which was really fantastic. So that was an in person interview, which is always the gold standard of trying to build that rapport and
Of
and
course.
have that sort of connection. Molly Gordon, I interviewed Molly Gordon, who plays
Oh, cool.
Hugh Jackman's daughter in The Sheep Detective. So another reason why I really love that film was getting to talk to Molly for 4 minutes, albeit very
Yeah.
short,
Yeah.
but it was short and sweet. Also had Carl Urban on the show twice this year. So Lee interviewed him for the Boys finale, and I sat
Nice.
down with him for Mortal Kombat 2, which I had a lot of fun with. I
Yeah.
loved that film. I spoke to Travis Knight for Masters of the Universe, which
Okay.
I thought was a fun film. I didn't quite lean into the comedic tone of that, but I didn't
Sure.
grow up watching or knowing the sort of He-Man
Yeah.
show or such like. But I got a kick out of talking to Travis because he's a super interesting director. Also, Curry Barker. I interviewed Curry Barker, who wrote and directed
Wow.
Obsession. And he was actually in the edit booth of the film he just wrapped earlier this year that stars Bryce
Right.
Dallas Howard. The name of it escapes me, but so he was just like sitting on the.
Anything but ghosts. Sorry, didn't
Yeah,
mean to.
that's it. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And good. I knew that someone on a movie podcast would know what the name
Hmm.
of the movie was. He's such an interesting and intelligent guy, and he is as shell shocked as a lot of people about the success of the film, but he has
I'm
still
sure.
made like an incredibly sharply written and beautifully acted and exciting, unpredictable film. And so he was a really unexpected get for the pod, part of like the digital release of the film. So the movie came out like mid-May in Australia, but it was kind of one of those, as we know, like those sleeper hits where it just
Hmm.
kept getting the word of mouth, like just gave that film just this incredible long shelf life.
Absolutely.
So I didn't see the film until probably like end of June or early July myself, because it was like, I've got to see this movie. People keep talking about it. Um, Also, I interviewed Andy Serkis, who's currently filming The
Awesome.
Hunt for Gollum in New Zealand. So I spoke to him about a film he directed called Animal Farm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that interview.
yeah. So, and that, like, I'm a Lord of the, like, look behind me. I've got the Lord of the
I
Rings
see. I see.
posters. I've got a Gandalf tattoo. Oh, I'm really bad at show. I've got a Gandalf tattoo here. So, Lord of the Rings is like literally in my blood.
Yeah.
So Andy Circus was a really exciting get. Zoe Deutsch, I interviewed for Gal Daughtry in the Celebrity Sex Pass. So this interview landed just after voicemails to Isabel came out. So and she was in Minions and Monsters, and then Gal Daughtry is this zany, wacky comedy, which I absolutely loved. And so that was a pretty cool interview to land. And my most recent one is Will Gluck, who directed One Night Only. So I had him on the show last week. So, I mean, they're just a few
Yeah.
highlights. I pinch myself every day, guys. Pinch myself every day.
And you and Lee are fantastic at what you do. Like I said, you're literally one of two podcasts I listen to. And Andy Serkis, oh my goodness, what a get! Like
Yeah.
he just seems like and I mean, even in your interview, like just such a nice and genuine human
He is, isn't he?
being.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He's just,
oh,
yeah, so unassuming, just very generous. I think that if there's like a red thread of all the interviews, sometimes you get 15 minutes, sometimes you get 8,
sure,
sometimes you get 4.
yeah,
But everyone. I mean, it's always just how you approach the interview. It's not. I'm not a getcha sort of interviewer.
Exactly.
I just want to like unpack and
Right.
understand the process, their experience, and I
Yeah.
think that always goes a long way. And if you give an artist an opportunity to talk about something they're passionate about, of course it's going to be an enjoyable experience. So that's my approach. That's Lee's approach anyway. So
Yeah, it
Yeah,
always
that's
has
great.
been. And that's why we enjoy having you on, because you guys are so passionate about what you do, and it comes through on the microphone. It comes through every single episode. There's so many people that you just kind of see, and I'm not here to name names or talk crap about anybody, that you could just tell they kind of go through the motions, or they may
Yeah.
use AI to find their questions, and
Clip
it's just like,
farming and
right,
just,
yeah, or they're
kind
just
of
trying to
yeah.
like bait the person they're interviewing into some drama or whatnot,
uncomfortable
and
question. Yeah.
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 So, that's another reason why Popcorn Podcast is the best. I love y'all. Like to
Well, I
us,
mean,
like you're the standard. Like and it always has been. Seriously, like I'm just always glad to have you on. And I know we haven't had you on often, and it's been a crazy couple of years working, and now we got trivia nights and everything else. And my daughter
yeah.
graduated film school, and
Oh,
everything
congrats.
else.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Thank
Now
you.
she's got her own video production company. Just shot a music video, or 4 music videos last week in
Thick.
Arizona.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Arizona! What
Yeah.
a great backdrop to film a music video.
Yeah, well, I will say I'm very lucky we filmed none of them outside. It was
Oh, okay.
120 degrees.
Oh, it gets
Um,
hot there, doesn't it?
yeah, we had multiple indoor locations like studios and like a hangar on an Air Force base, stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun, but I'm very
Oh,
grateful we
sick.
were not filming outside.
Oh my
I am not
God.
built for that, built for that type of heat out there.
I don't. Yeah,
It
I
was
always
awesome. It
question
was a
like
great experience.
people who live in like -50. I'm talking Celsius, like minus
sure.
50-degree weather, and 120, which is what in the 40 degrees Celsius and 45 degrees
Hmm.
Celsius
Right.
in our language. Like fuck, it's insane.
Yeah.
But I,
Yeah.
I wanted to say, like I really appreciate the feedback you give on the show, and I mean we've kind of been in each other's pocket for
Yeah.
many years
Yeah.
now and supporting each other, and I love your show and the variety of voices and things that you guys have, and like I mean. The dulcet tones of you, Brian, my friend, like I can just never get sick of them. But I want to have you guys on the show as a special guest,
Oh.
and I wanted to like ask you guys, while the mic
Oh,
was
yeah.
hot, because I was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to ask you like on the show because I think that's important, and I thought it'd be fun. And I have two movies in mind,
Okay.
and you can choose and you can come back to me offline. But I thought having you guys on for maybe like Clayface or Resident Evil might be, something
Ooh,
up your alley.
either
So let
one.
me know.
Horror
Either
is our
either
specialty.
one. I tell you, Tim, you're so great at what you do, because this was literally
Yeah.
my segue. It was
Yeah.
going to be, what are you looking forward to in the fall? And Clayface and Resident Evil are two of the ones that Jordan and I cannot wait.
Of course.
I'm not trying to hog up all your time, but yeah, either one. And especially Resident Evil, because obviously after Krieger, like we love Barbarian.
Yeah, I'm a big
Weapons
Krieger
was
fan
just
so far.
mind
Weapons
blowing,
is absolutely insane.
I
insane,
love that movie.
insane.
Oh,
I
what a
always tell
movie.
people when they're like, describe like Weapons to me. I'm like, think if Quentin Tarantino liked horror.
Oh, that's
Just the
so
way
good.
it's shot, especially
Yes.
with like, and then it all like comes together. Like it's very, when you watch it, it's very Pulp Fiction-esque as far as
Yeah.
like you get this character, but it's not linear
Love it.
like a lot of his movies are. And I just super enjoyed it. And with Resident Evil, especially Zach Krieger's version, I love the aspect that they're going for, where it really feels like this person is just thrown into the shit, for lack of a better term, and he's got to figure it out. It's not like, all right, now we have like, and don't get me wrong, Mila was fantastic.
Mhm.
The movies may not have been fantastic,
Yeah.
but she was great.
She
But it was always
delivered.
like, these super zombies and like the military and everything else. And I like the fact that this is an average Joe just trying to make it through.
Yeah.
And with limited weapons, limited supplies, and because that's how at the essence, especially the first
As a
Resident
player
Evil
of the
game,
game.
as a
Yeah.
player of the game, that's how it is. You
Right.
got to be mindful of your bullets, of your health, of everything around you, and you are not a trained military weapons expert. You are just like a regular dude trying to make it out of a nightmare. And that is what really, really excites me the most about Resident Evil. So If we
All
get
right,
to choose one, I'm going to go Resident Evil, but we are
it's
very, very
in.
excited for Clayface.
Either
It's on
one.
record. Let's have you on for Resident Evil. We'll call it.
Heck
Can't wait.
yeah, exciting,
Love
yes.
it. Love it. Oh yeah. Yeah. We cannot wait. Cannot wait. Now, um, as far as my last question, I think Jordan's got a couple more here. What are your thoughts and even predictions in
Mm,
terms of like award season coming up? For me, I feel like everything's going to be an uphill battle if the
mm.
movie is not the Odyssey. Like I feel
It's gonna
like
be
the
a crazy year.
Odyssey is going to smash records as far as nominations and awards. But
Yeah.
we'd love to hear from you. In
Mm,
terms of what you are kind of like predicting as far as, and we don't have to obviously go down the list, but maybe best picture, best
mm.
actor, the whole nine yards.
Yeah, look, I think there's plenty of films that have released in the first 8 months of the year
Right.
that will be up for award contention in
For
whatever
sure.
manner or capacity. But I think and the catchment of award season of when films get released is expanding bigger and bigger, kind of like the summer season. Summer kind of starts in April now in
Right.
the US. You have Devil Wears Prada 2, which is a massive hit. So April is kind of the new May, Memorial weekend.
Very true.
And so, like the Oscars, you've got Project Hail Mary from March
Hmm.
or April, whatever. And I think if Gosling lands a Best Actor nomination, I don't think anyone will be surprised.
Yeah,
But
he
that
should.
movie
I
was
hope so, yes.
phenomenal. That movie was phenomenal, and I saw it a couple
Loved
of
it.
times, and it's got such great rewatch value, which doesn't always determine whether a
Yes.
film is good or not. But I think it's worth calling out for that film. But you call out the Odyssey, which I thought was just an immense piece of filmmaking. It is so incredibly impressive, and I think Robert Pattinson and Anne Hathaway were the highlight. Acting
Yes,
performances in
for
that for me.
sure. I
It,
agree.
it's kind of like Matt Damon's version of Leo and The Revenant. I feel so. Matt Damon is such a
Great take.
he put his fucking body on the line in this film.
Yeah.
But I think in the technical awards, because that's always that gets you up in the count of awards, and I think it's going to be between the Odyssey, June Part Three,
Yeah.
and Project Hail Mary. Best visual effects, sound,
Hmm.
editing, production design, cinematography, and even like with I think it's VistaVision, like Digger is being filmed in
Oh
in
yeah.
Hmm.
Panavision or VistaVision. I can't
Yeah.
quite remember the format. Um, but I'm excited just on Digger. Like that movie looks cooked. That movie looks
Yeah.
like an absolute fever dream. And I think Tom Cruise, if there's any performance of his in the last, couple of decades, like this could be the one that he gets to take home his Oscar. What do you reckon? I mean, I know we haven't seen the
Oh,
film yet, but I've got that feeling in my bones.
gosh, we got to have you on more often, Jim. Oh my goodness, I've loved this episode from the start, but goodness gracious, we are just here. It's like a mind meld. I couldn't agree more. I think for I will say this, going back to the Odyssey real quick,
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if John Leguizamo gets a Best Supporting Actor nom.
Great
Mm.
point. He
I
was
thought he was
so,
amazing.
so good.
I
So
thought
good.
he was just absolutely amazing. And again, I do feel, even though you're right, Digger hasn't come out yet, Dune hasn't
Mm,
come out yet, but this movie, The Odyssey, I feel like this is like
Yeah.
when Titanic came out. Titanic
mm,
was special,
yeah.
very, very special. And this one
Odyssey.
is too. What were you going to say, Jordan? I'm
Odyssey
sorry.
is so I don't think I'm not even sure if I told you this or not, but one thing that we did between shooting in Arizona was we saw the Odyssey in 70 millimeter.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
And
Oh,
yeah, so that was my first ever 70 millimeter experience.
Oh,
Obviously,
wow.
we know it's very hard to come by to get
yeah.
seats, location, depending where you are in the world, but yeah, and that was, and granted, we were like the third row, and we were like, we'll just see what happens. But the seats were not as bad as we thought.
Mm,
So that was my first time seeing it too. I waited until
wow.
like weeks ago to see it. And it was, yeah, it was special. The 70 millimeter is something I definitely will be seeking out again. I hope maybe I'll get to see the third Dune,
Mm,
but we'll see. Those tickets go on sale soon, and it's like a minute sold out type thing. But
yeah.
I think that being like just the 70 millimeter really like puts into perspective like the scale that the Odyssey deserves, like that it really was and is. And I think it's going to do the same thing for Dune. And so
Mm.
I just totally agree with you that like those two are going to be absolutely so very close head to head during award
Yeah.
season. And of course Project Hail Mary too, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
those that's going to make for a crazy time for the Oscars and stuff.
And with Project Hail Mary too, and you know, Jordan and I did the episode. It's literally the only movie we've ever given both 5 stars,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially a movie because you gotta remember, it's pretty much just one actor,
Yep.
in Ryan Gosling for, let's say 75% of the movie.
Mm.
That's tough to do. To be the one person in there, and even if
Mm.
you're in an enclosed space, and I think about like the Hateful Eight from
Mm-hmm.
Tarantino,
Mm.
enclosed space, but he's also got a plethora of phenomenal actors in there and
Mm.
great dialogue. To do it by yourself and to also keep an audience engaged for that long,
Yeah.
that is a special, special talent. So,
Mm.
to be honest with you, for award season, it is going to be tough for a lot of these
Hmm.
nominees because I agree with you. Like Tom Cruise, I've always felt has deserved one. Matt Damon as well. Gosling with
Mm.
this.
Yeah.
To me, they're all winners. I don't know if they can do ties. I know people don't like ties, but this is just the
That
They
one
might.
happens.
year.
You never know.
It
But
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Be- be-
just like I hope they do.
Mm.
They're
Mm.
just all three of them, and like I said, we're not even at Dune yet.
Mm.
The one
Right.
mistake I made, I actually didn't see Dune 2 in theaters, which I still regret to this day because once I
I
finally got to watch it, oh man,
Mm. See,
absolutely
they
mind blown.
they showed the first 5 minutes of Dune 3 in the 70 millimeter Odyssey.
Oh wow.
And yeah, now I'm like, I gotta see it in
Jordan,
70.
no, you
It
should have kept that to yourself.
it yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
won't
so special.
describe it unless you want me to. I mean, there's not a lot going on, honestly, but
Right.
what's happening is
Mm.
like just
Yeah.
looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
There is only one IMAX 70 mil theater in Australia, and it's down in Melbourne.
oh,
And I had friends that
wow.
like flew down to Melbourne to experience the Odyssey down there.
Wow.
There are screenings in Australia that are like 6:30 in the morning. Like
Yeah.
they're all selling
Hmm.
out. Like
We
it's
went at
really
1:30 a.m.
my auntie, like I would have answers for her. She's like, Tim, why can't I buy tickets to the Odyssey? And I was like, join the queue. Like it's incredible that this film is monumental. I think that a great comparison that you gave, Brian, was like it is this year's or this decade's this millennia's like Titanic.
Yeah.
I think it really really is in terms of that star power and the scale and just filmmaking that has never been achieved before, that arguably
Yeah.
should have been impossible
Right.
to achieve. I wanted to highlight a couple of other films
Oh, please
because
do.
you reminded me on that enclosed space, and one of my favorite films of the year is The Invite, that was written and directed by Olivia Wilde, and
Mm.
I definitely think that there's an Oscar for writing in there for Olivia, and maybe even direction, because she just kills it. But my hot take is Seth Rogen for Best Supporting Actor. He is phenomenal in that movie. They all are. It's like hard to
Really?
pick. It's like your
Yeah.
favorite child sort of situation. It's incredible. But he is like, he does something really really different for him in
Yeah.
this film. He's so good.
Hmm.
Oh, I can't wait to check that out. And see, I love
Yeah,
I love
same
the
here.
recommendations and reviews.
Mm,
Definitely got to
mm.
check it out. Now, tell me a little bit more because I'm not familiar with the One Night Only. Is this
Oh,
something
right.
that came out this year? Yeah, like tell us a little bit more about that because as soon as you were talking about it, I was like, I gotta go check this out.
Yeah, look, I quite liked the film. I saw it twice. I saw it quite a while ago because I was in the running to interview Callum Turner and Monica Barbaro. Callum Turner just married Dua Lipa. He was in Boys in the Boat. He was in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, and a few other films that escape me. But and then Monica Barbaro was Oscar nominated for her performance in A Complete Unknown recently,
Mm.
alongside Timmy Chalamet.
Yeah.
So they're both incredible actors in their own right. So they've been thrown in this sort of this high concept rom-com, and Will Gluck is behind it, and he's directed things like Friends with Benefits and Easy A, and even though a film I did not like, Anyone But You, it was a massive global hit.
Yeah.
So he's behind the directing of this, and it's set in in the distant future, like modern time New York City, where the US government has put a mandate in place where people who are not married cannot engage in sex. So you have to be married to have sex. But it's like the purge where
Yeah.
one night a year you're allowed to go off. And so it's about these people. Owen is this pizza shop owner in New York, which is very, quintessential New York,
Yeah.
especially in the language of film,
Yeah.
which is great. And Monica is she plays this character who she's a singer, but she has stage fright. Like, she's an amazing singer. She obviously sings in a complete unknown. Like, she's very, very talented as an artist herself. But she records jingles for pharmaceutical commercials that use puns, like use well-known pop songs, but then to intertwine the name of an impossible to name, pharmaceutical product. So there's a bit of like kookiness in there.
Yeah.
And so on the night, they're obviously I won't spoil too much or give too
Right.
much of the setup, but they're basically like, the universe keeps pulling them together throughout the life of the film. There's all these like little side quests, and they keep kind of stumbling back in each other's orbit. And it's kind of what they do with those interactions, and they're both seeking something different. But will they, and how will they come back together ultimately to find themselves and each other? So it's just a fun, kooky movie. But yeah, weirdly, there's actually there's a lot of snogging in it, but there's no like actual sex. There's more sex in Empire
Right.
Street, like I said before.
There's more dinosaur
hilarious.
sex in one movie than there is in a movie about sex.
The scene
Yeah,
went
which
on for
is
so long. It
Yeah.
was funny.
Yeah, those
It
dinosaurs
did.
did get it on for a minute. I mean, but
Yeah.
you could tell they were slow. So,
Well, yeah,
these
it's
aren't
just
the
funny.
fastest moving dinosaurs ever.
I just think it's funny that 3-4 minutes of that 140 or whatever, sorry, hour and
Yeah.
40-minute movie, they
Yeah.
were like, we want it to be these dinosaurs doing it on the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, here we are
Yeah.
talking about it, and
Yeah,
I
and
think
it worked.
that's
Yep.
they won, they win.
Jordan, any other questions before we wrap up?
Um, sure. I mean, you kind of hit on obsession. I have some like random. Let me think. I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna get more specific with it.
Yeah,
What
go for it.
about? Uh, I don't know. I get a movie that just came. Have you seen Tony yet?
Yeah, I saw it the other night. Yeah.
Nice. What did you think? I'm
So
interested to hear what
so
you think
Anthony
about that.
Bourdain is like a personality that I was familiar with. Like, I really didn't know much about his life. I know that he,
Sure.
sadly died by suicide back in 2018, and because
Hmm.
my brother is a lover of food, and he's a great cook and whatever. He's not a chef, but we would kind of like watch some of his like, his where he traveled the world and experienced
Yeah.
cuisine and things like he was a cool dude. But I didn't realize how much people just really, really adored that man. And
Hmm.
the film is the film's really good. I think it's really interesting in how they approach. You think of a biopic and something like, I know this is weird to compare Tony to the Michael Jackson biopic, but it's like a moment in time. Whereas Michael Jackson has this
Yes.
enormous life, and it's obviously split into two parts. And whether or not I think that they made that movie successfully, spoiler alert, no, I think that movie was atrocious. But with Tony, it's one summer in 1975.
Oh,
It's
wow.
it's at a point in his life where
Wow, super
he's just,
micro.
yeah, it's super micro, and I think it really, really works because it kind of establishes and sets up who the man was, like, as
Interesting, yeah.
in his, I think he was 18 in the film, or 19 or something like that. And it's this motley crew of people in a Provincetown, seafood restaurant. I mean, Anthony Banderas is incredible in the film, but the highlight performance, he's so unhinged and so dangerous and so wild, was Leo Woodall, who I think is an actor who has showed up in all sorts of films, and you will know him when you see his face if you
Yeah.
don't recognize the name. He is an extraordinary actor, and he was the highlight for me in this film. He's just got so much
Wow.
character to him. But yeah, Tony's good. Like, I think if you're a fan of Anthony Bourdain,
Right.
then I think you're going to get a lot out of it. It's a really well made film, beautifully acted. Yeah,
Awesome.
and a
Yeah.
contained story. Yeah.
It's good to hear that. I'm a big Anthony Bourdain fan. I love like my comfort thing is like to turn on Gordon Ramsay, like Kitchen Nightmares, or Anthony Bourdain, like No
Comfort?
Reservations. Yeah, I
Get in the
just
fucking kitchen. I love that
I
comfort.
love it. I could honestly, I could do a whole episode about like old Kitchen Nightmares versus new Kitchen Nightmares because new Kitchen
Ah.
Nightmares, no,
Is he
no,
softer or like is that
yes,
your beef
yeah,
with it?
it's a
Okay, yeah.
different kind of TV. It's
You
Mm,
different.
could
mm,
tell. It's just like what they did with
Um,
like American Idol. Like they had to soften it up.
sure.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I
Yeah.
can
Oh.
genuinely do a whole episode about that. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but that's good to hear. Yeah, because I love Anthony Bourdain. I've been on the fence
Mm,
about this whole about Tony in general. I mean, I was really excited
mm,
when it was announced, however long ago. But then, like a lot of interesting discourse online just kind of has made me just a little bit hesitant about it, just because like the person Anthony was and the whole
mm.
ethics around biopics in general, and
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
somebody who passed in the way he did and dealt with
Mm,
so much in his life.
yeah.
Um, but it kind of makes me feel better to know that they did it at such a micro level. I feel like that's, in a way, I don't know how, more respectful than like trying to cover his whole life or whatever, because then it
It
just gets
exactly.
muddled, messy, more room for error, even though they have like, like fictional liberties and whatnot. They're
Mm,
dramatized, of course. But that's good to hear that it played well. Then I'm really
yeah.
excited to see Tony. So that was just like a selfish question I had, was if you had
No,
the
not
chance
at
to see
all.
it.
I think the discourse around biopics and whether they're successful or not, and the creative liberties, like you alluded to, and having like it's interesting. I mean, I know the Madonna biopic has kind of just fallen
Mm,
apart, but I think I don't know whether they could achieve that because her life is still being lived so large
Right.
today. And I think they would, if they were to make a Madonna film, it'd have to be a pocket in the 80s or
yes,
something,
Yep.
for
and that's
sure.
why Michael just trips over itself because it's just a hot mess where it just doesn't know what its focus is. And I know, again, kind of like this could be a whole episode in of itself around the history behind the problematic nature of that production and how they had to reshoot
Yeah.
the third act. And I think the voice and the focus of that was complete, had to get ripped out for legal reasons, all that sort of stuff. But Tony is successful because, yeah, it is that micro window into a moment in
Yeah.
time over one summer. It's a strong character piece, and I guess if you are familiar with Anthony Bourdain as an adult, then you could probably find synergies with the sorts of things he comes to realize or learn about himself or approach to things in that film that then just kind of helps shape the Anthony Bourdain that we
Yeah.
know because it's the public facing one. So that's
Yeah.
my what
It's
I
a really
think about it.
creative choice for
Mm,
them to like pick when he was younger, because I think even I'm not the biggest Anthony Bourdain fan in the world, of course, but that's the period where they're going to know the least about, of course, because his career
sure.
was like
Mm,
not really existent yet. He was just,
mm,
so I think that was clever by all aspects to get people who either care about him or don't to
mm,
watch this story. So that's cool. I'm excited to see
And,
that.
and with Michael too, just like you said, Tim, you know, you got the family involved. Like
mm,
Janet didn't want to be a part of the film, so she's not in the movie. Like I enjoyed it, but it was nostalgia why I enjoyed it because I
sure.
grew up during the Michael Jackson era. So like
Yeah.
seeing him like doing like the not even Thriller, like the Beat It, like meeting the gang
Mm,
members and stuff like that. Like I was like, holy crap, like this is awesome. But I am also always skeptical when there's a biopic when the person is still alive because I'm like, how much influence do they have on this? How
yeah.
much do they want to say? How much do they
Hmm.
not want to say? So, you know, because at the end of the day, they don't really want to look like an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Of
Right.
but
course.
you know, real quick, TV wise, I know we haven't
Mm.
touched much on TV. I just finally watched the Scorsese documentary on Apple TV,
Oh,
and I got to
good.
tell you, it is amazing
Oh,
because
I've
not
got to
only
watch
is
that.
he in it, but they also get like, you know, they get people that hardly ever do interviews for this kind of stuff. I'm talking
Mm.
Daniel Day-Lewis,
Holy
and
shit.
Leo's in it, De Niro's in it, and they cover. It's 5 episodes long. They're all about an hour long. And I was texting my daughter the other day, like when I first started it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is it's raw." And a lot of it is Scorsese himself, and he's talking about like his drug-filled years, where he was like, you know,
I
this
did
is
not
what I
know
was
that about
doing.
him.
Like, yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah,
me either.
same.
Me either.
Wow.
And, you know, he was just like, yeah, I did this because I was trying to be a part of like the Hollywood system, and talking about like New York, and like King of Comedy, like some of his least popular ones. And the main reason he even did Taxi Driver is because he was pretty much in the hospital for ODing, and De Niro
Fuck.
was like, "I'm gonna get you out of the hospital, but you need to make Taxi Driver for me, and you need to do it sober."
Wow.
And yeah, it's
That's
crazy. And
crazy.
he doesn't, like, they interview him, and
Mm.
he flat out says it. He's like, "Yep."
Wow.
He's like, "I had an issue, had a problem. I didn't know he was married like a bunch of times. He's got a bunch of different kids out there." And then, at the end, it
Right.
wraps up well, obviously.
Mm,
But it was just, I appreciate that more
mm,
than a biopic, because, when it's
Yeah.
the person themselves saying it,
mm-hmm.
then it's real. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When he says that, and I'm sure his lawyers are probably like, "You may not want to say this." He's like, "You know what? It's going
He
to
can
come out
afford to.
anyways." Right.
Yeah.
Like,
And, there wasn't it took a while for him to get to that status. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like Tarantino, where pretty much after Pulp Fiction, like, he kind of
Yep.
got the keys to Hollywood. Like, he still had to earn
Mm,
it. Don't get me
mm,
wrong, but Scorsese, it took a long time. Then he did Temptation of Christ, and
mm.
that did all
Super
kinds of things
controversial.
for
Yeah.
yes, for the audience. But it was something that he wanted to do. Like, he actually wanted to do Gangs of New York back in the early 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
it was just too expensive. And
Yeah.
on top of that too, he wasn't really Hollywood's favorite director at that point. They were
Mm,
like, "You're a
mm.
little bit risque. Like, we don't, you need to make this, and then if you do this, we'll do that." And it wasn't really until like Goodfellas, and then of course Casino, where Hollywood was like, "Okay,
yeah.
all right."
Oh, Casino's
Yeah.
so good.
Oh,
Love Casino.
well, yeah. I'm just going to throw that out there as far as like TV wise, especially just watching it recently. I'm going to
Mm,
rewatch it again because it's truly a great documentary. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Tim, before we wrap up, and I'm, again, so glad to have you. This is definitely going to be broken up into two parts, by the way, just because we are now a affiliate of Fox here locally. So our episodes
Oh,
have to
sick.
be like 28 minutes long, but
Yeah.
we normally will air the whole thing unedited, raw, uncut on our YouTube channel. But for Fox
Mm-hmm.
8, we got to edit it and do all that stuff. But tell us what's coming up next. Like, any
Mm.
premieres? I know you said Lee's coming back in around November, but what's coming up next, and what are you excited for the rest of 2026 here?
Yeah, look. Okay, so what's coming up next, I guess, in the interview space? I actually did this. I can't necessarily say all the interviews that I may or may not land because
Sure,
I can't really talk about them,
totally
but
get it.
I can talk about the films themselves. But
Yeah.
there's two interviews that I can talk about. I did this a couple of months ago. I interviewed Will Fort and Lana Condor for Coyote vs.
Oh,
Acme.
cool.
And that come, you guys get it a bit sooner than Australia. You get it in like the end of August, I think,
Yeah,
and
it's coming up
we get
Yeah.
soon.
it we get it mid-September. So that interview will drop in kind of early, the first or second week of September for me, which is what the publicist asked me to do.
Yeah.
So I'll do that. And then I don't know if you know an artist, an Australian artist called Tina Arena. So she is kind of the similar sort of stature and belovedness as like Kylie Minogue
Okay.
is in Australia. So she was on this like famous 70s, 80s TV show called Young Talent Time. So she was like this child star, and then she released two absolutely incredible albums in the mid to late 90s called Don't Ask and Burn. And she's got a documentary coming out at the end of the month called Tina Arena Unravel Me. And that's just like a personal, like, I'm just like stoked that I'm going to
Yeah.
Yeah.
be interviewing
Yeah.
Tina
Awesome.
Arena. So she's been in the industry for like 50 years. So
Sure.
she's kind of been pumping out music for many, many decades. And, she's played Ava Peron on stage in Evita, and
Oh,
she's done
wow.
all sorts of things. She did the original song for The Mask of Zorro. So, yeah, with, oh, what's his name? He was married to Jennifer Lopez, that artist.
Oh, Mark
Anthony.
Anthony.
Mark Anthony, yeah.
Yeah.
So they did that song, the Mask of Zorro song together. But I've also got my fingers in the pie of a few movies where hopefully interviews will land, like Practical Magic 2, Resident Evil,
Oh,
Sense and
nice.
Sensibility, and an animated film called Forgotten Island, which comes out in a couple of months. So whether or not I was meant to say that or not, I don't know. But it's out there now. But in terms of like films that I'm like super excited to see, the the dog stars Ridley Scott's new film. I'm pumped for. And an animated film called Wildwood, which was directed by Travis Knight, which looks absolutely phenomenal. The film Wicker looks absolutely cooked and just like
that movie looks very interesting.
I'm so excited
I don't know
for
what to do with the trailer of that movie.
Yeah,
I love
I only
Olivia
watched it
Colman.
yesterday.
Love her, so I'll be there.
Is it
But-
A24? Because I feel like this is
No,
like right up their
I don't
alley.
think so.
I don't
But
think it's A24, but it gives off
it's
A24
super-
vibes
yeah.
for sure. I think it's Black Bear. I think that's in.
Yes,
right.
I think-
You're right.
I think
It is
so,
Black
yeah.
Bear.
Black Bear, yeah. Which I saw the chronology of Water the other day, and that's Kristen Stewart's directorial debut.
How is
And,
that?
So Imogen Poots,
Just-
she's kind of like the, I reckon she's in for Best Actress. That the movie is so uncomfortable. It is incredibly disturbing and uncomfortable, but it is a really, really strong directorial debut. The movie is heavy, man. It is heavy.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
But it's don't watch it after a tough day at work or
Yeah.
maybe when you need
Okay.
a change in perspective on life. Throw Chronology of Water on.
Gotcha.
It's what you would call a tour de force performance. Like you don't throw those sorts of terms around when it comes to acting, but Imogen Poots is sensational. But then I'll close on this because I could go on forever.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited for The Social Reckoning and How to Rob a Bank as another couple of films that I'm pumped for. Yeah.
Great choices. I love The Social Network. I will watch that movie minimum 2 or 3 times.
So good.
It's a lot of people's favorite film.
It
Like,
really is.
yeah.
And I'm surprised because, like, don't get me wrong, like Jordan and I will talk about this all the time. Like, I honestly hate social media. We just hired, by the way, hi, Allie. We hired someone to help us out with our social media because we hate it so much. But for
it's kind of relevant for this.
But exactly, like the Social Network to me is just the writing, the pacing,
the editing,
everything is just top notch. And it's one of those, like, if it's on TV, I'm gonna watch it. And I know The Social Reckoning that Sorkin already said it's not a sequel, direct sequel. It's more like another like story with that. I'm very excited to see what they do. The cast, of course, absolutely fantastic. And I mean, he's one of the best writers in history. So very, very, very excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, I could go on and on because I just love talking to you guys.
Wow,
like,
man,
we've got to do this again soon. We're obviously going to have you on for Resident Evil, which I'm really pumped for.
And let's do one like once, after we do Resident Evil. Hopefully we can catch up again at the end of the year, maybe do like an end of the year recap. But let's definitely do one at least after the Academy Awards and just kind of wrap up the award season. And then maybe we can go back to this episode and just pull some stuff from it. And I think it'd be great. Tim, you are fantastic. I know it's early tomorrow in Australia, but send Lee our best. You guys are amazing. Again, we need to do this more often. And I'm just so glad that you were able to join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This is this could almost be a 3-part, 3.5 hours
easily.
Easily.
The thing is, like, normally like 1 hour is my limit, but with you, I'm like, gosh, we could go. And I've done that, and I will not name the podcast. I was on one podcast for 3 hours, and let me tell you, I was waiting for like and it was like on a specific topic. You know what I mean? So it was like we were talking about this one thing, and like by the time it hit like 2.5 hours, I was just like,
my God, it's a marathon.
Goodness, yeah. I mean, it just wasn't even fun.
Filibuster.
Yeah. But I mean, with this, it's natural. It always has been, and you've been fantastic. So, Jordan, hang out for a minute because I got to do like intros and outros and all that fun stuff. But Tim, again, thank you so much for your time, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes,
are you
guys?
I know that you said that she's coming to Toronto Film Festival. Are you guys coming back for South by Southwest again or anything like that?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll hopefully apply for accreditation. We tend to do that remotely.
Okay.
But Lee has like this real fire in her belly. She's like, TIFF, then it's going to be, Sundance, and it's going to be South by and all. So I don't know. The world is our oyster, I guess, in that sense. But for me, one festival at a time. But I think Lee will, go for it.
I got you. Well, anytime you're coming to the States, let us know. Not saying we can make it, but obviously if we can meet halfway somewhere, I'd love to do it.
It'll happen one day.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go to New York Comic Con here in October.
Sick.
So,
Nice.
it's just, it's one of our things. We've been doing this even before I did the podcast. It was just one of those things where it's always been dad-daughter time, and this will be 10 years now that we're going. And I told her, I was like,
Yeah, awesome.
I'm getting up there now. I'm almost 50. You know, I don't know how many more of these I got in me. So we'll see. But Tim, thank you so much, man.
Thanks so much. Take care, guys. Really appreciate it.
You too.
Bye.